years, so like 2123, we will all be buried with our families and friends. Strangers will live in our homes that we worked so hard to build, and someone else will own everything we have today. Most of our possessions will be given away or thrown out and destroyed, including the car that we spent our fortune on, and will probably be scrapped. Our descendants will hardly know who we are, nor will they remember us. How many of us know who our grandfather's father was? After we die, we will be remembered for a few more years, and then we're just a portrait from someone's wall. And a few decades later, our history, photos, and deeds disappear into histories of oblivion. We won't even be memories. If we pause one day to analyze these questions, perhaps we would understand how pointless it is for us to worry about 95% of the things that consume our minds daily. If we could only think about this shortly, our approaches, our thoughts would change, and we would do things differently. Perhaps we would feel more free to enjoy ourselves and our lives that we're living. Take these thoughts into the rest of your day this week, this year, and remember this saying: if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes being upset by it.
This is a hard lesson for many to learn, and even harder for most to be able to master. We're taught that we need to create generational wealth, that we need to break generational curses or generational habits. In most situations, whatever the primary person creates, by the fourth generation, half of that will be lost. And the main reason that happens is because we focus more on acquiring and getting and having instead of teaching. If we don't teach the next generation, then the next generation will simply lose a part of what was taught. The generation after that will continue to lose what was acquired, and the generation after that will continue to lose, and so on and so forth. The only time things grows is when a person decides that they want to learn how to grow. And worrying about the future, worrying about things that you cannot do anything about, doesn't serve you, nor does it serve the generations to come. Many of you are concerned and worried about your house and your car and your clothes and how you're going to live in 5 to 10 years, instead of focusing on what feeds you today, what provides for you today, what builds you today. You can't do much about tomorrow. You can only do something about today. And if you do things to take care of today, then tomorrow will take care of itself. And even when things don't go the way that you plan for them to go, if you can't do anything about it at that moment, why spend all your time worrying about it? If it doesn't feed me, if it doesn't clothe me, if it doesn't put money in my pocket, if it doesn't put a roof over my head, I don't concern myself with it. I wait for a time frame when I can do something about it, and then I act accordingly. And the lessons that I learned, I instill within myself and try to instill within others, but they will only learn what they're open to learning. They will only learn what they have a desire to learn. And therefore, I can't worry about what they are learning or not learning, only the information to which I provide. If my children grasp the lessons of my life and avoid many of my mistakes, kudos for them. If they don't, I will be there to try to help them to go through and remedy those same situations. But if they choose not to, it is not for me to overly concern myself about it, because it is their life to live, as every generation. And whomever my great, great, great grandkids will be, they will not know me. They will not have memories of me. They may have stories, but those stories will die with each passing generation. So I don't overly concern myself about what many perceive to be immortality of being remembered, because I can only be remembered by myself and of myself. And when you focus on that and elevating your consciousness so that you live in a 5D mindset and a 5D spiritual world, then you will see the 5D energy work within you. You'll attain levels of spirituality and consciousness that others only dream about or contemplate, but never truly achieve it because they're too worried about this 3-dimensional world that we live in now. So don't worry, just be happy. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.